She discovered a hidden invitation, and it led to an incredible, life-changing wedding experience. Jaime, a determined 28-year-old florist living in a cozy suburban town, felt the weight of her dreams pressing down on her. Every day, she stood in her tiny shop, surrounded by vivid blooms, imagining the day she could expand, owning a flourishing flower shop that would be the pride of the community. But financial obligations loomed over her like a storm cloud, thick with anxiety. It often felt like life was slipping through her fingers, just like the delicate petals she handled. One rainy afternoon, while sorting through her late grandmother's attic, Jaime stumbled upon a frail, decades-old wedding invitation hidden beneath old boxes. Intrigued, she dusted off the paper, feeling a rush of emotions. It wasn't just an invitation. It was a portal to the past, a glimpse into the fierce love that defied societal norms. She could almost hear her grandmother's laughter echoing through time. What stories does this hold? She whispered to herself, her heart racing. As Jaime dove deeper into the memories tied to the invitation, she uncovered tales of resilience and defiance from her grandmother, a woman who didn't let society dictate her choices. It was these stories that gently stirred her soul, igniting a fire deep within. Jaime felt a growing kinship with her grandmother, who had prioritized family over societal expectations, much like Jaime was starting to learn to do. But while Jaime was piecing together the past, the present weighed heavily. The community around her was struggling, and whispers twisted through the air, casting shadows on her floral dreams. Did you hear about Jaime's wedding plans? Murmurs would float around her, tugging at her heart. It brought feelings of isolation, as if the prettiness of her flowers couldn't shield her from the harsh reality of life, as struggles her floral business wasn't thriving as she'd hoped. With her wedding day fast approaching, Jaime felt torn. She battled between planning an extravagant celebration or honoring her family values. As doubts crept in, unexpected challenges threatened the wedding she envisioned. Just when joy should fill her voice, frustration tightened her chest. One moment she saw her dream wedding. In the next, all she could feel was fear. It had become an overwhelming storm of expectations and responsibilities. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As she wrestled with the weight of her decision, Jaime had a moment of clarity. I want my wedding to be about love, not grandeur, she declared, embracing the essence of her grandmother's legacy. Inspired, she chose to have a modest ceremony that reflected not just her love, but the goodwill of her community, where resources and talents would come together. Neighbors embraced the idea, offering their skills. Bakers, musicians, and florists rallied around her. But just as it seemed hope was blooming, calamity struck her business with shocking news, threatening the fragile web of connections she forged. Doubt clawed at her heart, squeezing fiercely. Standing at the crossroads, she felt the grip of ambition and expectation tugging her downward. Would she honor her grandmother's ideals of family and unity, or let despair pull her into the shadows? The wedding day loomed ahead, and one simple question lingered in the air. Would Jaime find the courage to redefine her path, or would she let fear paralyze her from true happiness? Jaime stood at the window of her little shop, staring out at the drizzly street. The raindrops danced down the glass, blurring her view of what felt like an unsteady world. Inside, her flower arrangements, usually vibrant and alive, seemed muted against the gray backdrop outside. The looming threat to her business felt heavier than the rain clouds above. Her heart raced as the memories of her grandmother's stories flooded her mind. The courage, the love, the defiance. If her grandmother had the strength to pursue her dreams, how could she let fear dictate her future? Yet, The staggering news of a delivery truck mishap involving her flower supplier gnawed at her resolve. Her inventory was dwindling, and with her wedding just weeks away, time felt like it was slipping through her fingers. Yet, amid the chaos, she felt a flicker of hope. The wheels of her community were in motion, and people were willing to come together for her. This wasn't just about the flowers. It was about love. And love could flourish in even the most hostile conditions. Jaime chuckled softly, remembering her grandmother's words. Flowers bloom through the cracks in the pavement. Determined to rally her neighbors, she organized a meeting at the community center. The atmosphere buzzed with excitement, but the concerns lingered beneath the surface. Whoever stepped through those doors would shape the day she had envisioned. As people filtered in, Jaime noticed the warmth of familiar faces. Friends, family, and those she had helped flower arrangements for over the years filled the seats. "Thank you all for being here," she began, her voice slightly trembling with nervousness. She took a deep breath, glancing at the inviting glow of the soft lighting that washed over the room. "I know times have been tough, and my wedding plans feel like a burden. But this day is not just for me, it's for every one of us. Together, I believe we can do something beautiful." As Jaime spoke, she could see shared memories flicker in the eyes of those listening. They knew her struggles, felt the same pressures, and had supported her through everything. Seeing that familiar nod of understanding bolstered her spirit. She could have sworn she felt her grandmother's presence, urging her on. "What if we turned this wedding into a celebration of our community? Let us work together. Everyone has skills to share. I need bakers, musicians, decorators, and anyone who wants to be a part of this special day." The words spilled out, each one stirring more energy in the room. Everyone chimed in with excitement. People flooded her with offers. One neighbor volunteered their backyard for the ceremony, while another promised to handle the catering. As ideas flowed, Jaime couldn't help but smile. This was the community her grandmother had fought for, and Jaime was finally becoming a part of it. But just when she thought hope was in full bloom, someone brought up the tough topic. What if the flowers don't arrive? Isn't that a deal breaker? Jaime's throat tightened. The weight of that question hung heavy in the air, a reminder of the obstacles still ahead. How could she plan a wedding without the flowers she loved? Despite the uncertainty, she stood firm, reminding herself of her grandmother's spirit. "We'll make it work," she said, conviction radiating from her voice. "Why not use wildflowers? They're free to pick and symbolize everything. We're trying to celebrate beauty in imperfection and life flourishing against the odds." With renewed energy, the room buzzed with chatter and brainstorming. Jaime's heart swelled with gratitude. But deep down, doubt lingered like an unwelcome shadow. Would they really pull this off? As plans took shape, Jaime felt the weight of her dreams and fears collide. The wedding was coming closer, but so were the challenges. Would her family's love and the community's support be enough to weather the storms ahead? The night ended with an anticipatory silence settling over the group. Tomorrow is a new day, Jaime thought, their returning chatter echoing in her mind. And it could be the start of something incredible, but just then, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was an unfamiliar message, another ominous update about her business. Could this be the breaking point, or would it lead her to an unexpected twist? As Jaime picked up her phone, her hands trembled. The message header read, "Urgent update, your floral order." She barely exhaled as she tapped it open. A wave of uncertainty washed over her. The summer flowers she de-ordered for her wedding, after weeks of collecting everything she needed, were in jeopardy. The screen glared back at her. A message from the supplier stated that all orders were canceled due to unforeseen circumstances. "Unbelievable," she whispered, her heart sinking. How could this happen now? She felt the walls of her little shop closing in, suffocating her in doubt. Just as she thought she was rallying her community, everything threatened to slip away. Taking a deep breath, Jaime forced herself to focus. If wildflowers were an option, perhaps there was a way to make that work. Could she enlist some of her neighbors to come with her on a forage? After all, wildflowers were a treasure, a symbol of community and resilience. With renewed determination, she quickly typed a response to the email, seeking alternative arrangements. As she hit send, a flicker of clarity emerged through the haze of emotions. The wedding wasn't just about the flowers. It was about the love and bond they represented. Closing her eyes, she envisioned the ceremony with people she cared about, celebrating together. That was the essence. After all, communities stitched into memories that wouldn't fade with the seasons. Just then, the chatter from the meeting room echoed in her mind, a banquet of voices filled with warmth and generosity. She grabbed her jacket and stepped outside, the cool air hitting her face like a splash of vitality. Maybe making wildflower arrangements could create something equally breathtaking, not just for her wedding, but as a gift for everyone involved. Her heart racing with excitement, Jaime made her way to the community center, the place where plans had begun to sprout. As she approached, the sounds of laughter and planning enveloped her. She walked in to find her neighbor, Martha, organizing music sheets, while two others were discussing the seating arrangements. "Hey, everyone," Jaime called out, her voice warm with newfound energy. Heads turned and smiles bloomed. "I know we faced a setback," she continued, "but there's a new plan. Instead of relying on a shipment, let us create something from our heart. Let us gather wildflowers together and make this wedding a true celebration of our community and the beauty we can bring." Instantly, the atmosphere shifted. Excitement bubbled over, and voices filled the air with encouragement. Jaime's hands moved animatedly as she mapped out plans, organizing a flower-picking group for the weekend. "We can pick all kinds of wildflowers from the fields outside of town. I even heard there's a hidden meadow teeming with colors. It'll be our magical escape," she said with a gleam of hope in her eyes. Laughter erupted around the room. Plans formed as neighbors offered their cars, picnic baskets, and two even volunteered to bring fresh lemonade for the gathering. Jaime felt the warmth expand inside her. It was more than she could have hoped for. As the conversation flowed, a lingering thought nagged at the back of her mind. That hidden meadow, what if it held something even more profound? Stories whispered her grandmother's name, tales of family traditions and promises. An unexpected tug in her heart told her there was more to discover. But just as Jaime leaned into that thought, a familiar face appeared at the door. It was Rachel, her childhood friend. From the look on her face, Jaime knew something was weighing on her. "Jaime," Rachel said, her voice laced with an urgency that instantly captured everyone's attention. "You want to believe what I found? There's something in that meadow. I think you'll want to see." Jaime's heart raced, curiosity piquing at the significance of that hidden invitation. What lay nestled in the heart of the meadow? Rachel stepped further into the room, her eyes wide with excitement and apprehension. The chatter around them faded to a hush as everyone leaned in. Jaime could feel the heat of anticipation prickling her skin. "What did you find?" Jaime asked, her heart pounding. All thoughts of flowers momentarily vanished. The weight of Rachel's words felt monumental. Rachel took a deep breath. "Remember my grandmother's old stories about the meadow? Well, I went there yesterday to scout for wildflowers, and I stumbled upon something magical." Her friends exchanged curious glances. Jaime felt her breath catch in her throat. Rachel continued, "In the middle of that meadow, there's an ancient oak tree. I could tell it had been there for generations. But that wasn't all. There was something carved into its trunk. It looked like old initials, maybe a heart and a date. I think it might belong to your grandparents." The mention of her grandparents sent a warm rush through Jaime's chest. She'd heard stories about how they'd fall in love surrounded by wildflowers. But living proof found in that hidden meadow? Her heart fluttered at the thought of uncovering a part of her family's history, something tangible that connected her to those stories. "Can you show me?" Jaime urged. "When can we go?" "Right now," Rachel said, her enthusiasm infectious. "We could take a quick look and then get back to prepping for the flower-picking party." The room buzzed with excitement again, and before she knew it, Jaime had a small group forming around her. Martha, with her usual sense of adventure, insisted on leading the charge. Moments later, They spilled out into the sun-drenched streets, laughter and eager chatter filling the air as they walked. The anticipation of the meadow quickened Jamie's steps. With every stride, she felt a mix of thrill and melancholy, like the path ahead held both joy and the ghosts of the past. They reached the edge of the meadow, the tall grass swaying like waves in an ocean of green. "Over here," Rachel called, pointing towards the oak tree, which stood majestic at the heart of the meadow. Jaime rushed forward, the earth beneath her feet springing to life with purpose. When they arrived, she stood frozen for a moment, staring at the giant tree, a testament to love, history, and time. The rough bark was etched with names and dates, weathered symbols of an everlasting bond. Jaime traced her fingers across the carvings, feeling an invisible thread weaving her into the tapestry of their story. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes. This is incredible," she breathed. "It feels like a piece of me was just found." Rachel grinned, her eyes dancing with the spark of adventure. "And look, there are wildflowers blooming everywhere around the tree. It's the perfect place to gather our blooms for the wedding. A real celebration of what love means." Jaime turned to her friends, who nodded in agreement, their enthusiasm bubbling over. The idea of creating arrangement from flowers picked in a place steeped in her family's love story filled her with a warmth she hadn't expected. As they began collecting flowers, laughing and sharing stories, Jaime felt a wave of excitement. This was more than just preparing for a wedding. It was a revival of connections, family, friends, dreams. Just then, a glimmer caught her eye among the wildflowers. She bent down to pick it up. It was a silver locket half buried in the soft earth. It gleamed in the sunlight, calling to her like a whisper from the past. Jamie's heart did a somersault as she held it tightly in her palm. What secrets did it hold? "Rachel," she said, excitement mixing with trepidation, "I think this locket might lead to something even bigger than we imagined." What had she just uncovered? And how would it change everything? Jamie's pulse raced as she stared at the silver locket, its surface cool and smooth in her hand. The sun glinted off it, casting tiny sparkles that danced in the air like butterflies. "What do you think it means?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Rachel leaned closer, her eyes widening. "It looks old. What if it belonged to your grandmother? Maybe there are pictures inside." The thought sent a shiver down Jamie's spine. What if this locket held a part of her grandmother's past? What if it connected her to love stories long buried in time? "Let us open it," Martha urged, bouncing on her heels. The group gathered around Jaime, their curiosity piqued, hearts thrumming in sync. Rachel helped her pry the clasp open. With a soft click, the locket revealed its secret. Inside, there were two tiny portraits, one of a young woman with laughing eyes and soft curls, the other of a man with an unmistakable twinkle of mischief. Jaime blinked, recognizing the woman instantly. "It's her," Jaime gasped, tears filling her eyes. "This is my grandmother." Rachel clasped her hands excitedly. "And that must be your grandfather." Jaime could hardly breathe. She was looking at a moment frozen in time, a glimpse of her family's history. "They were so young, just like us," she murmured. It was as if the weight of generations had lifted, and she felt their love surround her like a cozy blanket. "Wait, there is something else," Martha exclaimed, pointing at the back of the locket. With a gentle turn, they revealed a tiny engraving. Jaime squinted. It was tough to read, but as the others leaned in closely, a sense of urgency enveloped them. It says, "Meet me at the oak on the second Sunday of July. Forever yours." Rachel read aloud, each word tinged with mystery. The air thickened with the promise of an adventure rooted in her family's history. "I can't believe this," Jaime trailed off, her mind racing. "Do you think they had a secret place? A reason for this?" "They must have been deeply in love," Rachel said softly, her gaze fixed on the locket. "Imagine if we could follow their path, uncover more of their story." Her heart swelled with a mix of excitement and fear. What if this was more than just an old locket? What if it meant she had to dig deeper, to uncover a love story that had slipped through the cracks of time? "Let us go to the oak tree this July," Jaime suggested, her voice trembling with anticipation. Let us see if we can find out where they met. To celebrate them and your wedding. The group erupted with enthusiasm, their voices swirling together. They filled the meadow with laughter once more, not just for the wedding, but also for the promise of a journey of connection across the ages. But amidst the chatter, Jaime felt an odd undercurrent of reality. What if they found something that changed everything she thought she knew about her family? As they walked back together, hands full of wildflowers, Jaime cradled the locket in her palm. It felt like a gateway to hidden stories waiting to be uncovered. Just think, Rachel said, breaking Jaime's reverie. What if you find out something about your grandparents that surprises you? Jaime looked ahead, her heart racing with a mix of anxiety and hope. But what other secrets might the locket and the oak hold? There were more mysteries waiting, and she was determined to unlock them all. As the warm sun dipped low, bright colors painted the sky. Jaime felt that something incredible was just on the horizon. What revelations awaited them in the month to come? And would the journey ultimately change everything? July arrived faster than Jaime had imagined. The days melted away in a whirlwind of preparation for Rachel's wedding, but her mind often wandered back to the locket. It had become an obsession of sorts, a riddle she was eager to unravel. The morning of the second Sunday of July dawned bright and clear. Jaime could hear the cheerful rustle of leaves outside her window. She slipped out of bed and tiptoed to the living room where her friends were gathered, excitement buzzing in the air like electricity. "Are you ready?" Rachel asked, her eyes sparkling with joy. Jaime nodded, heart racing. "I can't wait to see the oak tree." The group piled into Martha's car, their laughter spilling into the warm summer air. They sang along to songs on the radio, but Jaime's mind drifted back to the locket. What might they find? Would the tree hold clues or pieces of her grandparents' love story? As they drove deeper into the countryside, the scenery shifted from bustling roads to winding paths lined with wildflowers swaying in the breeze. It was enchanting. When they finally reached the oak tree, Jaime felt an overwhelming wave of emotion. This wasn't just a tree. It was a witness to love. The gnarled branches spread wide, like inviting arms. She stepped closer, feeling the rough bark against her fingertips. "It's beautiful," Rachel whispered, her voice filled with awe. After a moment, Martha broke the spell. "What do we do now?" Jaime glanced at the locket, which dangled heavily from her neck, feeling like it was leading her. "Let us look around. Maybe there's a spot, a mark, something that means something." They spread out, scouring the area. The day unfolded in playful laughter as they climbed over roots and ducked under branches, all while checking every nook and cranny. Suddenly, Rachel called out, "Over here! I found something!" Jaime dashed over to where Rachel stood, squatting beside a patch of flowers. There was a small stone partially buried beneath the soil. Jaime knelt beside her, anxiety creeping in. As Jaime uncovered the stone, she realized it was actually a small, weathered box. Heart-pounding, she opened it. Inside lay a collection of letters tied together with a faded ribbon. This must belong to them," Jaime said breathlessly, her hands trembling as she took out the letters, each one filled with familiar handwriting. "What do they say?" Martha asked, her eyes wide. "I don't know yet, but they're from A. They have to be important." Rachel leaned in closer, excitement sparking in her gaze. "Let us read one." They gathered under the oak tree, the letters unfolding tales of longing, joy, and promises made long ago. Each word painted a picture, bringing Jaime's grandparents to life in vivid colors. But as Jaime read, she stumbled upon something that sent a chill down her spine. One letter hinted at a hidden conflict, a choice that could have changed everything. "What does this mean?" she murmured, her mind racing. Rachel squeezed her hand. Maybe they weren't just in love. Maybe they faced challenges we didn't know about. Jaime nodded, the thrill of discovery tinged with a sense of unease. What truths did these letters hold? They were beautiful and heartbreaking, but they also felt like pieces of a puzzle she needed to complete. "Join us, Jaime," Martha called, pulling her back to the moment. But as the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow around them. Jamie's heart raced not just for the joy of finding these treasures, but for the revelations yet to come. What secrets lay within those letters? And would they lead her down a path she never expected? As Jaime sat with the letters fanned out before her, the smell of the old paper and ink carried her back to a time she had never known, yet felt intimately connected to. Each letter seemed to pulse with energy, vibrating with the unspoken words of her grandparents, their lives entwined in a tapestry of hope and heartache. "Here, listen to this one," she said, her voice barely above a whisper as she began to read. The words danced through the air, a melody of emotions that painted vivid scenes in their minds. With every story of love and yearning, Jaime felt a piece of her own heart shifting, resonating with the struggles and dreams of the past. But the weight of that one letter lingered heavily. What was the conflict they had faced? What choices had defined their lives? She couldn't shake the feeling that their challenges were symphonies of unfulfilled desires, shadows of missed opportunities. As the sun sank lower in the sky, its warm rays spilling golden light through the oak branches, Jaime felt a knot tighten in her stomach. "What's wrong?" Rachel asked, her brow furrowing with concern. "I don't know," Jaime hesitated. "I guess it feels like there's more to this story. Like they weren't just a fairy tale. There were real decisions, real hardships." Martha furrowed her brow before speaking gently. "Maybe it's not just about what they faced. It's what they chose to do with it. They're still together, right?" "Yeah. But what if Jaime's words hung in the air, the unasked question throbbing like a pulse? What if you repeat the mistakes?" Rachel suggested softly, an understanding glimmering in her eyes. Jaime felt a rush of emotion. It was more than just a thought. It was a realization of a possibility, a warning, or a guide for her own path. She gripped the locket, feeling the cool metal against her racing heart. "Let us read the rest," she said, determination rising within her. They turned to the next letter, weaving through lines filled with dreams of a future together. Yet, every now and then, a shadow of doubt flickered, casting questions in Jaime's mind. As they read on, they discovered hints of heartbreak, worries of fitting into a challenging world, and whispers of old family expectations. Suddenly, Martha gasped. "Look!" She pointed to a small embossed seal at the bottom of one letter. It was a symbol Jaime hadn't seen before, a crest that was vaguely familiar. "What is it?" Jaime leaned closer, curiosity piqued. "This looks like some kind of invitation or event. It doesn't just end here." Rachel and Martha exchanged glances, their eyes widening in unison. "What do you think it leads to?" Rachel mused. With each word that was read, Jaime felt the pulse of time. It could be a wedding, an event they went to where they solved whatever was happening, or an announcement. Martha interjected, catching Jaime's eye. Jaime's heart raced anew. What if this revealed something even more significant? What if they had been part of a larger narrative, something not fully captured in the letters? The thought ignited a spark of hope and dread all at once. "That means we need to find out more," Jaime said, feeling a sense of purpose wash over her. "We can't just close this box and forget it." The sun hung low on the horizon, painting the sky in a brilliant array of colors. At that moment, Jaime felt that her grandparents' lives were reaching out to her, urging her to delve deeper, to uncover more, to weave herself into the fabric of their past. And as Rachel, Martha, and Jaime clustered together, excitement buzzing among them, Jaime couldn't help but wonder what other mysteries lay ahead. What would they discover about her grandparents' lives? What would it mean for Jaime's own journey? The air shimmered with possibilities, and Jaime's heartbeat echoed with anticipation. Ready for an adventure? She grinned, her eyes sparkling with determination. But just as they were about to decide their next steps, a rustling nearby caught their attention. Something, or someone, was moving through the bushes. A swirl of anxiety hit as they glanced at each other, curiosity, battling with apprehension. What had they stumbled into? The rustling grew louder, snapping Jaime back to reality. A rush of adrenaline coursed through her veins. She exchanged quick glances with Rachel and Martha, their breaths held in a collective silence. "Should we check it out?" Rachel whispered, eyes wide with excitement. There was a flicker of uncertainty in her voice, but the thrill of discovery overrode it. Jaime nodded, her curiosity piqued. "Yeah, let us see what it is." With a cautious step forward, she pushed aside a few branches. The shadows danced around them as the sun dipped, casting long fingers of light across the clearing. Suddenly, a small creature burst out, an inquisitive fox, its eyes bright and ears perked. The tension broke as laughter erupted from the trio. "A fox!" Martha squealed, her heart briefly lifted by the playful spirit of the little creature. Before they could fully absorb the surprise, the fox darted back toward the thicket, and Jaime noticed what had caught its interest. There, nestled among the leaves, was a worn, weathered envelope with the same emblem they had seen on the letter. Her heart skipped a beat. "Guys, look!" Jaime leaned down, her fingers brushing against the edges of the envelope. The material felt far softer than expected, as if it held secrets that had been waiting for centuries. "What is that?" Rachel asked, leaning in closer. With cautious hands, Jaime picked it up and turned it over. The seal looked similar, but was much larger, intricately designed. "It's an invitation?" she murmured, her pulse quickening with every revelation. They gathered around, eyes gleaming with wonder. Jaime broke the seal and unfolded the brittle paper. The words spilled out in elegant calligraphy, describing an upcoming grand event. "It says here, it's a wedding, a celebration." Her heart danced in rhythm with the excitement in her voice. "But whose wedding?" Martha wondered aloud, peering at the fine details etched into the invitation. Jaime could hardly breathe. Maybe it's their grandparents? Instantly, the fragments of the letters seemed to weave tighter, as if the pieces of her family history were aligning. "But this is incredible." Rachel's face lit up. "We need to go find the location and learn more. This could be the event that changed everything for them." "Exactly," Jaime agreed, adrenaline racing again. "We could find out what led to their happiness or heartache." They shared a moment of quiet contemplation, the weight of generations pressing down on their shoulders. "Do you think we're ready for what we might discover?" Martha asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jaime felt a surge of confidence. "This is more than curiosity now. It's part of our journey to understanding who we are. I want to uncover it all, the good, the bad, everything." A sudden breeze swept through the clearing, rustling the leaves and sending shivers down their spines. It felt as though the forest itself supported their decision, encouraging them to move forward. What if Rachel hesitated? What if we find something that changes how we see our families? Jaime nodded, feeling the weight of their collective legacy. "Then we embrace it. We let it shape us." Just then, a whisper of something caught Jaime's ear. A voice soft, almost ethereal, seemed to resonate through the trees. "Follow where love leads," it floated in the air. "What did you just say?" Martha asked, startled. "I think I just heard something," Jaime stammered, glancing around. "Come on, let us follow it," Rachel urged, the thrill of adventure tingling in her bones. The mystery deepened, pulling them along a winding path. Each step felt purposeful, as if they were walking along the threads of a tapestry, stitched together by love, resilience, and stories untold. As they moved forward, Jaime's heart raced with the promise of what awaited. Would revelations about the past empower her to embrace her own future? What secrets lay ahead on this uncharted path? The forest thickened around them, branches curling like fingers overhead. Shadows flitted in and out of sight, creating a magical aura that both thrilled and unsettled them. As they walked deeper into the heart of the woods, the whispers seemed to pulse in rhythm with their footsteps. "Do you hear it?" Rachel asked, glancing over her shoulder. The excitement was palpable, making her eyes sparkle. "It's like the trees are talking to us," Martha said, her voice barely above a whisper, as if afraid to disturb the magic around them. Jaime felt that same electric energy coursing through her. "It's guiding us towards something," she breathed, pulling the invitation from her pocket, the delicate paper crinkling softly. "An invitation to something special." As they navigated the twisting path, an unsettling thought crept into Jamie's mind. What if this led to something more than a wedding? What if it unveiled truths buried beneath layers of family history? Would she be ready to face it? But the prospect of discovery pushed her forward, heart racing with anticipation. The sun dipped lower, casting an amber glow that filtered through the leaves. Suddenly, a clearing opened up before them, revealing something astonishing. An old, dilapidated gazebo sat in the center, vines creeping up its columns like time, trying to reclaim the beauty. The sight struck a chord deep within Jaime, as if the gazebo held memories of laughter, love, and promises made long ago. Wow, Rachel breathed, stepping inside. The air inside felt thick with emotion. Do you think this is where the wedding took place? It must be, Martha said, peeking through the vines that draped over the edges. Can you imagine the flowers, the music, everything? Feel that spirit? Jaime stepped cautiously onto the creaking floorboards, glancing around. Dust motes danced in the light, as if the gazebo remembered the very people who had celebrated here. She closed her eyes, imagining the laughter of her ancestors filling the air, joy radiating from this very spot. But then a sharp rustle caught her attention. A figure emerged from behind a nearby tree, a woman, her silhouette framed by the golden sunset. Jaime's heart raced as recognition set in. She looked familiar, her features strikingly reminiscent of Jaime's own. "Who are you?" Jaime called, her voice steadier than she felt. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a warm smile. "I'm your great-grandmother, Evelyn. I've been waiting for you." The world around Jaime faded. The old tales her family had whispered around campfires came rushing back to her, stories of love, heartache, and hope that danced through generations. "You've been waiting for me?" Jaime stammered, disbelief washing over her. Evelyn nodded, her eyes twinkling. "Yes, my dear. There's so much to share, so much you need to know about love and family." Rachel and Martha glanced at Jaime, their eyes wide with surprise. A whirlwind of emotions tangled in Jaime's chest: excitement, fear, and a deep yearning to know. "So much is connected, Jaime," Evelyn continued, her voice sweet like honey. "This place holds the essence of our family's love story, the heart of where it all began." With a breathless sense of urgency, Jaime stepped closer, her mind racing with questions. "What do you mean? What should I know? What about the wedding?" The old woman's smile faded a bit, replaced by a softened gaze, filled with wisdom and tales untold. "Every generation has its own struggles and triumphs, but the roots of love run deep, even when shielded by pain. The notes you found, the whisperings of the trees, they all lead here for a reason." Jaime felt the weight of her family's legacy entwined with her own existence, pushing her further down the path. This was no longer simply an adventure. It was a calling. "What I need do?" she asked, determined now. Evelyn smiled again, a glimmer of pride lighting her eyes. "Follow your heart. Only it can illuminate the path to understanding." In that moment, Jaime realized this was only the beginning. The stories woven into her past were now hurdles waiting to be crossed, light illuminating the shadows of curiosity and legacy. "Let us discover everything together," she declared, looking back at Rachel and Martha, whose encouragement shone brighter than before. And as they prepared to dive deeper into the mysteries of their family, the forest buzzed around them, a new adventure beginning at the edge of the unknown. What other secrets would her great-grandmother reveal? And could Jaime untangle the threads of love that time had hidden away? As Jaime stood before her great-grandmother, a swell of emotions surged within her. Each word from Evelyn felt like an echo of her past, wrapping her in warmth and familiarity. "This is where our love story began, Jaime," Evelyn continued, her eyes reflecting both the wisdom of the ages and the gentle light of 1,000 memories. "Every choice made here has rippled through time, affecting each of us." Jaime felt an overwhelming sense of connection to her roots, to her dreams, and to the promise of a future yet unfurling. Standing under the ancient oak, she realized it wasn't just a wedding she was planning. It was a celebration of family, unity, resilience, the essence of life itself. "Grandma, I found your letters. They told me stories of love and struggle," Jaime said, desperately wanting to share this discovery. "But there are hints of heartache, too. Why did you keep those secrets?" Evelyn's gaze softened even more. "Some stories are heavy, dear, and fear of repeating the past kept us silent. But sharing them can liberate our hearts. Is that what I need to do?" Jaime's voice trembled with sincerity. "Let the past guide me?" "Indeed," Evelyn replied, a knowing smile creeping across her face. "Look around you. Surround yourself with love. Let the community rise up with you and embrace every part of your journey, even the shadows." Jaime glanced at Rachel and Martha. They watched her closely, filled with encouragement and belief. "You're right," she breathed deeply. "It's time to redefine what love looks like for our family, to create our own story filled with laughter, support, and beauty." Just then, the breeze swept through the clearing, rustling leaves like applause, urging Jaime to move forward. A sense of urgency hummed in the air. "We must return to the wedding preparations," she declared, newfound power in her voice. "There's so much to do, and now more than ever, I want my wedding to be a testament not just to my love story, but to our family's legacy." Evelyn nodded with pride, her eyes gleaming. "You hold the strength of our generation. Let your heart be the guide." With a final embrace, Jaime felt a warm rush, an invisible thread connecting their spirits. As they made their way back through the woods, excitement bubbled inside her, each step infused with purpose. The following days were filled with vibrancy. Jaime tapped into her community, and people rallied together as they had before, creating a wave of support that felt unstoppable. Wildflowers sprang up as neighbors picked blooms from the nearby fields. Together, they weaved brilliant arrangements that symbolized resilience and creativity. The townsfolk donated food, music, and decorations full of personal flair, transforming the space into a sanctuary of love. The evening before her wedding arrived with an air of anticipation, the soft glow of lights twinkling overhead. As guests gathered, Jaime stood among them, feeling the pulse of gratitude blooming within her. Families mingled, laughter floated, and the joy in their hearts intertwined. "Are you ready?" Rachel asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "More than ever," Jaime replied, heart swelling. She shared a moment with her grandmother's locket, the symbol of the stories uncovered, and inhaled deeply, drawing strength from the guidance of her ancestors that on the wedding day, under the sprawling branches of the oak tree, Jaime stood, a bouquet of wildflowers cradled in her hands, surrounded by the people she loved most. The air buzzed with happiness. She felt at the essence of generations, igniting every word spoken, every laugh shared. As she exchanged vows with her partner, Jaime caught sight of a familiar figure standing near the back Evelyn, smiling softly, tears sparkling in her eyes. Jaime's heart soared, enriched by her ancestors' stories and vibrant with new memories being made. With promises exchanged and love declared, the community erupted into joy, celebrating not just the union, but the tapestry of lives stitched together through both struggle and triumph. Jaime closed her eyes, soaking in the moment a sense of fulfillment enveloping her. Dreams fulfilled, connections deepened, and new beginnings formed, a legacy of love realized. As the night unfolded beneath a canopy of stars, Jaime reflected on her journey, realizing it was never just about her wedding. It was about the courage to face the past, the strength to embrace her own story, and the community that made every moment possible. Days turned into weeks, and while Jaime had established new habits and connections, the spirit of love and family remained her guiding light. With a heart full of gratitude, Jaime embraced her new life as not just a florist crafting arrangements, but a weaver of dreams guided by the love of generations past, building a future where love flourishes forever. Finally, in this moment of reflection, a strong urge surged through her. It was time to share her story to inspire others. With renewed purpose, she pulled out her camera, turned on the lens, and met the viewers with an inviting smile. Hey everyone, Jaime here, and it's time to take action. If you want to see more amazing transformations and stories filled with hope, you need to subscribe right now. Let us continue this journey together. And hit that like button to support more heartwarming content about love and resilience. Don't wait, not even one more second. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this journey. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this message, because everyone deserves to see how love overcomes obstacles. This is the moment to show your support. Let us build a community that cherishes love, hope, and inspiration. With newfound assurance, Jaime invited everyone to join her, knowing that this journey was only just beginning.